What do you mean that all white town failed? How could a self proclaimed superior race fail at anything? It's so many of them that don't want to be around other races. How do you fail at building something for you by you? If every white racist moved to that town and support that town, y'all should be good. Your own government, your own restaurants, your own little honky tonks. But you failed. Give black people a chance to do something like that. And don't tear it down and watch what happens. Give Hispanic people a chance to build something like that and watch what would happen without tearing it down. Complain, complain, complain. Jeez.
So did y'all hear about the people that are moving to Arkansas? They want to build their own town. Stop it. So did you know also that now they are begging the government to help them? They want money for housing. They want money for food. I thought you were so above everyone and you can only be white to live here. Really? Use your whiteness and all that money that you claim you have and build your own town the way you said. No one cared. No one cared that you had that land, that you only wanted white people. You had to put in an application and they can deny your application because you weren't white enough and you weren't superior enough. Oh, really? So why do you need that same government to assist you, boo? That doesn't even make good common sense. And then they claim that they're so great at building and architecture and engineering, but they're not even qualified. If you look up the qualifications in their town, they don't match. So the only qualifications it looks like they have, I'm white.
You know why whites only town are failing? I think you need to go and check history. White folks who are asking themselves why white people cannot have their own thing like constructively without it crumbling. I'll remind you of this. Do you remember Tulsa, Oklahoma? Do you remember those black cities that black people were trying to build by themselves, but you decided to take them down? Do you remember those thousands of acres of land that you took from black people? Do you remember when you burned down the houses of black people? Do you remember that? Do you remember when you acquired acres of land from black people? Do you remember when you stole the art of farming from black farmers? So why do you think at the back of your mind that you will have something of your own and it will work for you? It becomes so much difficult for this to happen. Understand that whites only towns are failing. Whites only towns are failing because white people are learning that they cannot sustain themselves for themselves. They rely on other people, brilliance. And this majority of them are black people, followed by Latinos, and now any other group. They are learning that they cannot be by themselves. Black people were thriving. They had black banks, black towns, and they were doing so much well. But due to jealousy, but due to the fact that you cannot fathom seeing a person that you enslaved, a person that you incarcerated, a person that you whipped, is now having their own banks, is now having their own farms and doing good. You now decide go and sabotage that for them. And now you think that in the contemporary, this is the 21st century, sorry, you think that you can go and do that and become successful. There's just many ways that karma pays people. Brothers and sisters, I'm let you watch the video and then I'll be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. As you know, I'm your host and presenter, Tech Stories. And if you're watching this channel for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to work on it for you. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Decided that they were going to build an all-white town, and it failed. Of course it did, because what are you going to use in your all-white town that wasn't made by a black person? I just want to know what invention you plan on using in your all-white town that is not part of modern day technology. You can't even have a stoplight.
I support the idea of a whites only town, but only because I want those racist bigots out of my fucking city. If all of the racists live in one little town, honestly, you're doing us a community service because we don't want you here. It's so funny to watch white supremacists get pressed over the fact that we don't give a fuck that they are creating their own little whites only town. Like, if you're gonna be a racist bigot, honestly, I think the best thing you can do is go create your own little town so we don't have to fucking deal with you. If all of the bigots live in one town, I know where to avoid and who not to talk to. At that point, you're doing community service.
Whites only community. Only white people are gonna be allowed. Oh, probably shouldn't listen to that. So only white people are gonna be allowed. What do you mean people aren't mad about that? Okay, but they're supposed to get really mad about it. Well, how about not just only whites, but no Jews either? We want whites only that are non-Jews. And we have the best attorney. Nobody's suing us over this? What do you mean nobody cares? Just laughing? No, I mean, Arkansas, the great state of northern Arkansas, who doesn't want to come to this community of ours? No one wants to come to Arkansas. The real estate agent told us everyone wanted that piece of property. Okay, well, so we'll just start in Arkansas, and then we're gonna move to Missouri. Missouri's even prettier. Still nobody, how about I say it louder? Whites only community. We're gonna broadcast it, let everyone know, only whites, non-Jewish. How segregated can we get this? Still no, okay, so we'll call this whole thing Return to the Land. Does that make people mad? It does, because it's funny coming from white people returning to a land that was never theirs. Okay, so we'll call it Return to the Land. We'll start in Arkansas, expand to Missouri. What if we say we're gonna go into all 50 states? Does that make people mad? They're still ignoring us. How is the top liked comment, no one gives a shit? Okay, well, we need to set up some interviews. The second most liked comment is Good Riddance Whiteys. Okay, now I'm offended. We need to get this on national news because we want people pissed off, because that's the only way we can feel anything emotionally, you know. Who's gonna build our homes? What about the Mexican restaurants? Who's gonna open and run those? I don't know if we thought this all the way through.
Funniest part about that whites only town in Arkansas, black folks ain't mad, and you're mad, we not mad. So there's a brand new whites only town in Arkansas, and the gag is black people don't even care. Now, I've seen the comments. Why aren't black people upset? Why are you mad about this? We gonna clear this up right now. Nobody's upset, poo-poo. See, the one thing black people ain't gonna do is lose sleep over other people that want to create a safe space for themselves. Build your own little town, plant a flag, that's fine. Hang a welcome sign, whatever makes you feel good. Honestly, we gotta be real about something, because I saw the interviews, I saw the clips. This ain't a town of exceptional people. I mean, think about it. If you drop everything to move to this town, you probably already didn't have much going on anyway, right? And that's not shade, that's facts. So the question is, again, why should black folks care? This is the part that cracks me up the most. Y'all want us to care. I see the confusion in your eyes. I see it. Y'all like, don't the blacks care? Don't they want to be where we are? Nah. We just want to make sure when we build our communities, we're not cheated out of the things that we're supposed to have. That's all we care about, boo. And it's wild because history has shown as soon as black people do build their own thriving spaces, what happened? Some of your people roll up and burn the whole thing down. But we're supposed to believe now y'all just want to be left alone. Child, I'm going to tell you what really gave it away for me, though. The fact that they ran to the media. That's not privacy, y'all. That's desperation. Numbers must be low. If you got to beg the evening news to let them know that you exist, waitlist my ass. See, if black folks were building their town, the media would be the last people that we want to know about it. We gatekeep. We ain't trying to broadcast. But y'all couldn't wait to hold a press conference. That's not security, that's thirst. So no, we're not upset, we're not jealous, we're not even plotting to crash your party. Because truth be told, we really don't care. And honestly, that's what really bothers y'all.
So they're building whites-only towns and communities in Missouri and Arkansas, where whites, and only whites, no other race at all, can live, can shop, can mingle, and do things of that nature. And I'm guessing when they released this information, or when they came up with this great idea, they thought that it was going to ruffle some people's feathers. And in all actuality, nobody gives a fuck. Because the truth of the matter is, they actually thought that all white people were going to be involved with it. We're going to be for it. And they said, hey, you know what? We're going to make the world this way. Everybody's not like you. And now they're getting a taste of reality, and they see that the people that they thought were going to be with them is not with them. That a lot of good white people are on their ass. Sidebar, Arkansas and Missouri is just Arkansas and Missouri. Nobody wants to come to Arkansas and Missouri. We can use New York for an example. You can't do shit like that in places like New York. You might get your head taken off. And a lot of other places. But reality of the situation is they didn't think all of this shit out. So, truth of the matter is, if you are making whites only towns, the 5 people or 10 people that's going to be in those towns, you can stay in those towns. Enjoy. It's definitely a new day. And everybody's not with the bullshit. Keep Arkansas and Missouri. It's all right. We're fine. I'm out.
These effing unwashed butt cracks that are moving to their strange little girl-bye village in Arkansas or Missouri or where the fuck ever, it's all the same shit. Let them go. That's what I say. Let them the fuck go. Like, who fucking cares? I know a lot of white people right now are crashing out. When I say that, I mean the liberals who are worried about the racist aspects of this. Yeah, they're horrible people, though. Like, if they want to self-segregate, let them. Like, see ya. I mean, they're going to have garden hoses attached to, like, rainwater buckets, and they're going to bathe themselves in, like, bye. Like, these are weirdos. Like, who cares? Not to mention, yeah, they're racist, so please, yes, find a way out. I mean, I've been trying to figure out how we can get rid of them in our communities as it is. This is great. They're doing it themselves at their own expense. Perfect. And I will say for that one creator on here that has gone around talking about, oh, we would really love it if black people did the same thing, created functioning, financially strong communities. Bitch, do you know American history? There are 45 million examples of how the second that black people did that and had thriving communities, they were razed to the ground. I mean, I went to college in Oklahoma. Tulsa race riots? Oh, what? Their Black Wall Street there? Destroyed. All because some white woman decided that a black boy in a building was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and she didn't like how he looked. And I'm simplifying that so much, but like, she was just started a whole race riot that destroyed that community. Central Park was built on Seneca. I'm forgetting the other word, but yeah, a black community that was thriving there as well had their own post office. Like, when I lived in New York City and I found that out, like, you can see it when you go through the tours and everything. Like, what the fuck? Like, you think that it's this beautiful space, and then you find out, oh, just like all of America, it's built on the graves of people who aren't white. I'm astonished. So anyway, and I know this is definitely not at the same level, but all the people like this who move into our gay neighborhoods, buy up all the property, jack up the mortgages, and kick us out, price us out, everything. Like, no. This is the same shit where it's just like they want all the spaces and we have to go start over somewhere else, try to build community somewhere else. And then they get their bachelorette parties together and come into our gay bars and they're just like, oh my God, can I take a picture of you two? You're so cute. We are not lab animals. We're not in a zoo. We're not cute. We're tired of your shit, Kelly, Ashley, Sarah Beth. So if they want to move to a fucking little village, let them. Let them. I'm glad for it. See ya. Trash takes itself.
So they're trying to break ground on a whites-only community in Springfield, Missouri, as early as this year. Not literally in Springfield, Missouri, but adjacent. And they hope that they can build one of these cities in every state in the union. It's called the Return to the Land Initiative. And my brain keeps breaking every time I say return to the land out loud. Because there's nothing about white people that screams return to the land. White people can barely go camping without crying. I'm trying to understand the whole return to the land sentiment there, because it sounds eerily similar to return the land or land back for indigenous people. And after that Jubilee episode recently with that one white guy saying that white people are Native Americans, and he truly believed it and people clapped for him, I'd like to see them build this white city. But I would like them to not use any inventions made by any person of color or any immigrant. Like literally everything. Even down to the types of pets that they're allowed to have, actually. Because we don't want any immigrant pets. They have to be from America only. It's just bothersome to me, as a person who is white, to see other white people be so fucking stupid. And the fact that they think that they can actually put one in every state. It's mind-boggling to me. At this point, I'm just starting to feel like Any person who is not cis, straight, heterosexual, white, or male, it can't be all of those categories. I think we should just leave. Everyone just fucking pick up, give up, and leave. And let them see how horrible it actually would be. This can't be my reality.
The folks building up that white-only community in Missouri are very funny, because if you know your history, you'll realize that it's going to collapse upon itself. It's going to fail. And I really feel like they're going to notice that it's failing whenever Becky's trying to make burrito tacos and she's really fucking it up. And they'll find somebody else to blame at the end of the day, because these people have insane egos and are just extremely racist. Like, the thought of maybe my ignorance and my stupidity led to this failure is too much for them. They can't compute it, because for centuries they've been telling themselves that they're better than because of the color of their skin, because they're white, they're pure, they're God's gift to earth, you know what I mean? And their whole existence depends upon having their ego stroked by society. And if you don't stroke their ego, they're going to lash out, they're going to wall out. Like, and it's because they don't have any kind of culture. They don't have anything to really cling to besides whiteness, because a lot of white people have lost their culture as a result of coming over here from Europe. And because they lost their culture, lost their heritage, they're always trying to infiltrate black and brown communities and take what they can and bring it back to them. You know what I mean? Because it's like they see that our communities are built on love and care for one another. And white supremacy doesn't allow for that. It drives for individualism. It drives for you not to care about anybody but yourself, because you're trying to reach a level of white supremacy that'll allow you to not give a fuck about anybody, that'll allow you to be extremely superior. White supremacy doesn't just mean supremacy over black and brown folks. It's supremacy over other white people as well. Because capitalism is one of the things that really holds up white supremacy and allows it to function and run rampant.
Hot take, I don't have a problem with them having a white-only town or community. They have one already in Arkansas. It's a members-only community, and they're thinking about doing one in Missouri. But see, my only thing is, if you guys are going to do it, you need to do it the right way. Like, why stop at a town? You need an island. You know, somewhere you can escape the horrors of woke people and colored people and gay people that want basic human decency and equality and justice. Like, ew, you know, somewhere far, I don't know, maybe the Epstein Island, you know? Since Trump did say he was a terrific guy, I think it's only fitting that you take your king with you and, you know, build the walls. You can keep all of us colored people and woke people out of it. And then that way you guys can live in the 1950s freely without us bothering you. But I don't know. That's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I feel like you guys need to think bigger. Like, why would you want to be in a country that is so diverse? You need an island.
To the white people that are like, oh my God, this is crazy. To that whites only town in Arkansas or Missouri, whatever backwoods fucking town or state it's happening in. You do realize right now in 2025, that's what the Trump administration, MAGA, a whole fuckload of white people are operating on. They want this a whites only country. You're just surprised because these motherfuckers in that town are just saying it out loud in a way you can't turn your face away from. But Trump and his administration in America as a whole for centuries has been saying the same shit. I'll continue to say this. We are in the middle of a reckoning for white people. All of us. And I fucking hate Trump. If you followed me over the years, you know I fucking despise that man. Been talking about it for years. Been talking about white supremacy nonstop for almost 5 years. But I cannot separate myself from that. as a white man in this country. But there's no surprises here. None. When you have a government that is sending out ICE to kidnap immigrant men, women, and children, put them in American concentration camps, when you have a police force that frequently murders black men, women, and children, when you have a government that continues to fucking destroy indigenous communities, when you have a government that pays for the genocide of the Palestinian people, when you have a government that has a white supremacist hand in Congo and Sudan and Haiti and all these other places across the world that causes death and destruction, when you have a government that is making their sole focus to destroy anything that involves diversity, equity, and inclusion, deleting black, indigenous people of color from historical archives, talking about how black history is divisive. Like the list goes on. When you have a government that runs off this idea that there's a white genocide, or that the white population is at risk of being destroyed, like this, they are trying so hard to make this a whites only America. But the thing is, white people won't believe that unless another white person is like, hey, we're making a whites only community. Then it's like, oh my God, this is bad. No, black, indigenous people of color have been telling America this for literally hundreds of years. There are black creators, indigenous creators, creators from other communities outside of whiteness every fucking day that are on this app telling the truth. But you won't believe that it's racism or white supremacy unless a white person purposefully tells you, hey, we're going to be super fucking racist and build a white supremacist town. Then you're like, oh, that's okay. It is real. Listen to black, indigenous people of color. They tell you the truth. They know us better than we know ourselves.
Good morning, peeps. So, I see these posts about somewhere in bumfuck Arkansas, they're creating an all-white town. Only white people. Woo! And some people are making videos saying, oh, black people are upset about it. Ah. And the black people are chiming in saying, no, we're not. We don't give a fuck. If all you racist incels want to start your own town, great. Have fun. Do what you got to do. Truth is, a lot of towns in rural South are already mostly white anyway. Those people fucking have been inbreeding for years. They're all a bunch of inbred, incel fucking yokels who fucking, they're spoon-fed fucking bullshit from Fox News and OAN and Newsmax, and they're the fucking ones that fucking keep voting Republican, even though the Republicans are fucking been robbing them blind and fucking them over for fucking decades. How's that working out for you, West Virginia? How's that working out for you, Arkansas? You elected Sarah Huckabee Sanders, fucking, whose only qualification was she can, lie to your face with a straight face. Pathological liar and a fucking grifter and a thief. She's robbing you guys blind too. So please let us know where these towns are. So if we're ever on a road trip, we can make sure to not even stop there for gas, because chances are you don't want to be there. And I saw a post with somebody making a good point. They've tried this in the past before many times, and the same thing always happens. It's just a fucking cult. All the predators are going to rise to the top, and they're going to start doing terrible things to kids. In about 6 to 10 years, somebody's going to escape and say, yeah, I was a child who grew up there, and my parents and the people of the town abused me. So it's just a bunch. They're just terrible people, because the people that have that type of mindset do those types of terrible things. And, you look no further than our president. He did terrible things too, and we all know he's on that list. So, whites only towns, yay! Have at it. The master race. If you people think you're superior, then how come only stupid people subscribe to it? the orange fucking monster is living proof that that whole theory is just a bunch of bullshit. So do what you got to do, white people, and everyone else, have a good day.
You know, I really don't think anyone should be surprised by the fact that a whites-only community is popping up in Missouri. Racist white people are going to do racist shit, okay? Especially in the current political climate. We saw this last time when Trump was president. The racists felt emboldened. They kept doing more racial bullshit. There's plenty of stats for this. Go look it up yourself. You're a grown person. That being said, we know how it's going to end. All right, this is the same as every other cult that has popped up, because I do genuinely believe that racism runs so deep in people's minds, it indoctrinates them like a cult. Especially in white communities, because white parents pass down white supremacy onto their kids because they just never learned white patriarchal society. But it's one of those things that, and it's not excusable. That is not an excuse. I'm simply trying to say where it comes from. It's why so many white people talk about deconstruction, talk about going through all these things, because especially if you grew up in the Bible Belt, in a like a Bible Belt small town, that is part of deconstructing from leaving a white town, a small town, is, oh fuck, everyone I knew was racist as shit. Though that was all racist shit they were saying. I do not feel bad for the adults one bit. They are full-grown adults. I don't give a fuck. They've been shamed. Look, they have been so successfully shamed out of society for their racist-ass beliefs that they genuinely believe they have to set up their own community. That's beautiful to me. The only thing that I genuinely feel remorse for in the whole thing are the kids. We know how this is going to end here in 6 or 7 years. There's going to be a hell of a documentary about this, about all of the child abuse and all of the sexual abuse that is going to happen in these towns. That is the overwhelming factor that always happens in these white nationalist cults, is massive amounts of child abuse that the parents are going to cover up. The parents will never admit to putting their children around predators. They will never even come to terms with the fact that they are best friends with predators who are openly going to prey on their own children. They don't genuinely give a fuck about their kids. They never have. They never will. They just want to be racist. That's the end of it. They have no culture to protect. They have none of that shit. No, they just want to say racist shit and homeschool their kids and keep them racist and indoctrinate them. So we see exactly how this is going to play out, because it is played out this way in every other Christian community. Predators will rise to the top. The women and men around them will protect them. And here in about 6 to 10 years, you'll see a survivor come out saying, a kid that was born before they got into the cult. The kid that remembers life being kind of normal before their parents went off the deep end with Trump. Those kids will eventually come out and go, yeah, no, there's a ton of sexual abuse going on. There's a ton of child abuse. There's a ton of spousal abuse. And it's going to repeat, because we have not successfully done a good enough job in getting these kind of people out of society. And that's the truth. They are so arrogant to their own actions, because it's not ignorance. Ignorance is more of, I'm doing things and I don't understand the consequence. They are blatantly doing things and ignoring consequence. That is arrogance. There is all the literature in the world you can read, or even listen to, or just engage in, to break those cycles, and they refuse to do it. They're just going to keep the white quota going. And that's their goal at the end of the day. They want to maintain that power structure. They want to maintain that some white dude is on top of power. And that's what they want. So no, this, as disgusting as it is, it's not surprising in the least bit. Look at the current climate we are in. They are going to be trying to do this more and more because they feel emboldened. They know the government's on their side. They know that the entire controlling government is currently on the sides of racists and pedophiles. So of course they're going to be emboldened to do these awful things. Unless someone is going to go down there and stop it personally, it's never going to stop. We would need multiple John Browns at this point to even attempt to stop what is coming.
Oh, let them build a white-only community in Arkansas. They'll find out. They'll find out how bored they are. I mean, without Mexican, indigenous, black, Asian influences, like, what are they even doing? Like just eating mayonnaise and listening to country music, I guess? Like, I'd be really worried about the kids in that community, though, right? Like, they're going to become the entertainment in an evil sort of way. But other than that, just let them have their experiment. They'll find out.
A whites-only community. I keep seeing stuff across my Facebook feed that says that all these places are making white-only communities. And y'all, I am so excited. I don't know about y'all, but I am so excited because I can't wait for these raggedy bastards not to be in our community anymore. Yeah, no. Make your racist ass community and then take all y'all's asses there and stay there and don't come out and, you know, croak or whatever y'all are going to do while y'all are there. Whites only community. Get the fuck out of here. No, but no, I hope that works out for you. I hope that's exactly what you do. I hope you make this big community of only white people who hate all other colors and people that don't. Like, I don't know.
So, brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great. You know, the phenomenon of predominantly whites-only towns experiencing a decline and then seeking out from black people, this is something that we all need to understand through a structural and historical lenses rather than this isolated irony that we all are seeing. Now, understand that many of these towns were built during periods when racial exclusion coincided with strong state investment, industrial jobs, and demographic privileges. So their stability depended not only on whiteness, but also access to federal subsidies, unionized labor, infrastructural spending, and protected markets. So, as globalization, deindustrialization, and neoliberal practices hollowed out these supports, the racial homogeneity of such towns became a liability rather than an asset. So, without new labor, without cultural dynamism or demographic renewal, many of these communities began to stagnate economically and socially. I might explain. Remember that black people, and I'll say this is not being proud, but this is just the truth. Black people run the United States, and we'll agree. They run it in this way. And also other immigrants that come into the United States, they run the United States. I might explain. You know that black people, first, they offer their labor, right? And the labor is not like just physical labor, mental labor, right? We call it a human resource. Majority of black people are a human resource. They provide key information that help run, that help build the United States, that help make United States be what it is, right? So you understand that they play a pivotal role in these places that they occupied. So when white people go and segregate themselves or separate themselves, as you can call it, and say that they want to have their own towns, remember they don't have this manpower to do all these things by themselves. So you understand that they cannot do this by themselves. And what does this mean? It means that they'll need black people. And the fact that we are having black people in these places, it means that the key interest that they had before, they lose. Another key reason is that these towns are failing because of demographic collapse. Let me explain. So, younger white populations have migrated to urban centers, leaving behind aging residents, shrinking tax bases, and labor shortages. So, schools close, hospitals struggle, and local economies weaken. And as you know, historically, these towns relied on exclusion to maintain social order. But exclusion does not generate workers, innovation, or growth. And so as a result, black people, often younger, urban connected, entrepreneurial, are increasingly seen not as outsiders, but as necessary participants in revitalization. So this shift exposes the contradiction at heart of racial exclusion. The very groups once marginalized are now essential to survive. So that's how it has always been. And also another factor that I think we also need to see is the collapse of self-sufficiency. At the back of the mind of white people, they thought they were self-sufficient. Rather, they were not. Many white-only towns lack communal institutions needed to adapt in times of crisis. So decades of individualism, and racial hierarchy weakened mutual aid, interdependence, and collective problem solving. And in contrast, Black communities historically forced to rely on each other due to exclusion. They developed a strong traditions of cooperation, church-based organizing, informal economies, and community leadership. So, when white towns face crises such as labor shortages, failing schools, or social fragmentation, they increasingly look to Black people for skills, for care, for work, for cultural vitality, and community rebuilding capacity. These are things that they cannot provide by themselves. And economically, Black labor has always been central to America's stability, and I've said this. Even when it was exploited or erased from narratives of progress, as white-only towns decline, they rediscover this reality. Black professionals are asked to fill shortage in education, in healthcare, logistics, and public administration. So Black entrepreneurs are encouraged to open businesses in abandoned downtowns. Black families are invited to repopulate empty neighborhoods. What makes this moment revealing is that the invitation often comes without a full reckoning with past exclusion. So the same towns that once resisted integration now frame Black presence as a solution, highlighting how economic necessity can override long-held racial boundaries. There's also a psychological dimension to this shift. So for many white communities, asking Black people for help represents a loss of racial certainty and moral authority, because whiteness operates in this way. It functioned historically as a guarantee of competence, leadership, and entitlement. So when white-only towns fail despite racial homogeneity, you understand that it undermines the myth that whiteness alone ensures order and prosperity. Turning to Black people for help is therefore not just economic, it's symbolic. Because it reveals that survival depends on cooperation, it depends on diversity, it depends on skills, rather than racial purity. So challenging these deeply embedded beliefs about hierarchy and superiority really matters. And from Black perspective, this moment is approached with caution rather than celebration, because Black people understand that being needed does not automatically mean being respected or protected. Because history shows that Black contributions are often welcomed during crisis and discarded once stability returns. And therefore, Black engagement with struggling white-only towns, often conditional, focused on economic opportunity, institutional power, and long-term security, rather than goodwill alone. So this strategic approach reflects historical awareness. Help without equality leads to exploitation and not partnership. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think and feel about this video. I'm your host and presenter Agent Stories, but until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.